Hey there, everyone! Today we're diving into the sands of Arrakis to review Dune Awakening, a few weeks after its launch. I'm going to explain why this is an awesome game that I can't recommend at the moment. But before we get started, a quick word on my review process. I learned a valuable lesson from the previous review of Dragon Age the Veilguard. I enjoyed it, sure, but just because I enjoyed it doesn't automatically make it a good game. So I'm taking that enthusiastic 8 out of 10 score, cringe, and well, let's just say it's been adjusted to reflect a more realistic perspective. A 4 out of 10. That's quite a drop. Anyway, good? Good. Now, let's talk about Dune Awakening. This is a survival MMO developed by the same team as Conan Exiles, sharing a similar structure. The game is always online, which isn't my favorite thing. I'd really love for this to get a single player option like Conan Exiles. And that brings me to the biggest issue in Dune Awakening, which it faced at launch: the private servers. I bought the Ultimate Edition to play early on the 5th, but playing on private servers was impossible. I wanted to play solo, and I got a private server to do so. The private servers had issues that extended past launch day. I was able to play on the 11th without any problems, but then a new problem came up that made the game unplayable for another 2 days. Other than that, I'm still experiencing insane frame drops. I'm talking even with a 4090. It's so bad that the game freezes for 2 seconds, mostly in PvP areas, outposts and caves. And no, my PC isn't the problem. It's the game. It's unacceptable and needs to be addressed ASAP. Oh, and before I forgot, FPS drops also occur while driving or flying around too fast. My SSD is pretty good. Assassin's Creed Shadows, for example, boots up in a second, so what? The actual game is really good and bad. It's grindy as fuck as a solo player, but that can be addressed in the future, which it better is, like the devs making a big portion of the deep desert a PvE area, which is great, meaning you don't have forced PvP in the endgame anymore. Which seems nice at first, but having a random rock structure suddenly be flagged as PvP isn't really making it better. It's not really obvious what's a PvP besides the big ships, of course. There needs to be some indicator on the map, like a red circle around those. The game has a story, and it's a mixed bag. The Fremen quest line is a bit like Fallout 76's holotape quests, but it works here because it's not just that. I don't want to spoil anything because the story has some really cool moments that need to be experienced firsthand. But that brings me to the second part of the story, and that's where things get really interesting. The game kind of transforms itself into an Assassin's Creed game with a lot of cool missions that I thought to be amazing. When you reach the end of the second act, however, the story just ends. No conclusion, no nothing. What the fuck? Are you serious? Is the third act going to be one of those paid story DLCs? Better not be paid. I warn you, we know the game isn't done, and it shows, so don't you dare. Now, what about the gunplay and combat? Well, the AI is pretty stupid, running straight at you, which you can take advantage of by confusing them. I went into a high gear level dungeon with my first upgraded gear from copper to iron, and I cleared it. I got the native stillsuit transmog, which means the AI is really stupid. I should have died in that. A few improvements like flanking and not just walking towards you or something, or sometimes even just past you, would be appreciated, but it's still a lot of fun. The weapons are easy to handle and everything has a feel of impact. Even melee is great, but that brings me back to the AI. I just wait for them to hit me so I can parry them. Make of that what you will though. The enemies in the deep desert provide more of a challenge though, even if it's in a way that I despise. Same AI, just a giant health bar and a high damage output. That's pretty much it. Now, the game also has mining, which works with a laser, and I just love the sound of it. extremely satisfying. But there's not much else to say about it, just mining, harvesting water from plants, or taking the blood from your enemies to transform it into water. Getting spice is the end game, by the way, which is fine and terrible at the same time, but the system itself is good. The sandworm. It's scary and very dangerous. If you die to either the worm or a sandstorm, you lose everything you have. Armor, weapons, everything you carry. I haven't died to that yet, and if I did, I'd probably stop playing, which might be an issue, but only the actual data can tell if it is or not. Dune also has a kind of class system where you can be like me and use the grappling hook so much that you don't want to stop using it. The classes vary, but you aren't locked into a specific one. You can unlock all of them, you can mix and match all abilities for your slots from every class if you have it. And just as a tip, don't pick Trooper as your starting class. You can unlock that one in the starting area. Now there's one more thing I want to talk about, the endgame. It fucking sucks. One of the worst endgames I've ever seen. Getting the highest tier of gear as a solo player is so expensive in resources, and not only that, trying to get these resources for crafting is a pain. There's like one node every 5 minutes, which give you like nothing, and you need 2 different ones to craft the highest ingot. Once you have that, you need to farm spice, which takes a while as a solo player. And with that while, I mean, trying to get all of the highest tier of crafting stations takes 33.5 hours of non-stop crafting. And that's only the spice I just mentioned. And no, it doesn't include any weapons or armor pieces. Just the crafting stations. I refuse to do that. No, I'm not subjecting myself to 200 hours of torture. No thanks. But why am I not recommending it now? Even though it's obvious. It's very simple. The game's technical state is terrible. Frames are all over the place, and sometimes it's unplayable. The endgame sucks and the story just stops. It's just not ready for the masses. And I'd say that it feels like an early access. So give it a while. The story and technical state might look different in 6 months. But until then, hold off for now. I hope this helped you be informed about Dune Awakening. For further reviews and other cool stuff, click that bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. Okay, bye!